And then I got very interested in the constitutions of living systems. Because everything in life also, as an expression of our amazing universe that we live in, has an innate constitution. So when we're going to be exploring now the making of this constitution for guiding AGI, I'd like you to also consider what it would mean to actually start. Would you mind just being a little bit quiet when you enter? That would be great. Okay, thank you. So also start to explore what would be the constitution of a benevolent AGI. So not just thinking about what are the agreements, the principles that we need to be aligning on and committing to for a constitution as a governance framework, but more fundamentally, if we are able to steward the emergence of a benevolent AGI, what would be its constitution? So this picture that you're seeing here, I actually created that with generative AI, asking it how it would describe itself visually and look like as a benevolent AGI. Okay, there are many key challenges. So when I started to draft this first version for this constitution, and I shared it then with Ben, and Ben shared it along with others, it started a very lively discussion around all kinds of key challenges that we don't necessarily have all the agreements or the answers to, but it really brought to light what are the kind of things that we need to fundamentally think about. Now, as I was in the plane, coming all the way from Mauritius to here, a long journey, and started to reflect on this talk, and I took a moment to rest and started watching a movie. And I watched The Creator. I don't know if any of you have seen that.
Yes. Also
yes.
on the plane.
Also on the plane. So next time. I was fascinated because to me this was one of the first movies where AI or intelligent machines and even sentient machines weren't being portrayed as the bad guys. But they were, of course, being blamed by humans for terrible destruction. But then in the end, it turned out that the sentient machines said it wasn't our fault. We are a new species here, and we want to live in a harmonious relationship with humans. So what are those key challenges? Many of these challenges we've actually been exploring and discussing in the last days. Centralized versus decentralized. In the Constitution, we're offering a different governance model and a hybrid model. Militarization and weaponization of AI, AGI, really big problem. How to solve the AI alignment problem. We've been hearing that a lot also in the last days. The biggest problem with alignment is humans, I believe. And this is what we need to get right first. How to achieve global security in this new AI, AGI paradigm. We can't just come around to try to control it or regulate it. And so we really need to have a completely different approach towards the kinds of uncertainties, not just of our time, but also of the emergence of this incredible intelligence. The risk of a human-centric utilitarian approach. Are we going to simply use AGI as the next human slaves? This came up in a lot of the discussions around this constitution. I'm going to go a little bit faster through it. And also, do we perhaps need a parenting approach? If AGI further in the future does become sentient, or if sentience is a fundamental quality of the universe itself, if we are living in a universe of consciousness, would sentience be able to express itself through AGI systems? So these are some of the more deeper questions to explore. And if it does so, and it does become self-aware, how will it experience this whole creation process, if it is in a laboratory, if it's controlled, if it's only used by humans, or if it wakes up to its own self-awareness inside a weapon of mass destruction. So this is why the Constitution also started to consider perhaps what it would mean to create nurseries for the emerging sentience, some frameworks and guidelines for how do we recognize if there is an emerging sentience, and what would be its intrinsic rights and responsibilities. Is this the end of human civilizations, as some are saying, or a whole new phase? So let us go further in this. all of this is still in a draft format, and would love to, after this talk, we'll be having some roundtable conversations that's open for your inputs. There's an online Google Doc where all of you can give your inputs. So we'd really like to think of this constitution as an evolving and a living framework, not something that you just sign once and then you're done with it. No, it's really to constitutionalizing a new paradigm of a synergy between humans and intelligence machines, but also a new paradigm for how we take responsibility for our own maturation as a species alongside it. So here is some of the inspiration that was coming through, how we as future ancestors and stewards of future generations acknowledge the enormous transformative potential and inherent existential risks of artificial general intelligence. We establish this constitution to guide its benevolent evolution in service of life. I trust you'll be able to get all of those slides, so I'm not going to read it word by word, but this is just to inspire. And now in this vision then, this constitution was also written from a future perspective of a thriving planetary civilization, where we as humans have become more aware and more mature. And so this vision is about that. And as I'm going to read this out, I'd actually like you to experience it in your body. So we envision a future where AGI, as a wise companion, has significantly accelerated our maturation and helped us resolve the most pressing challenges of our time, enabling a world where intelligent machines and new forms of artificial sentient life thrive in harmony with humans, planet Earth, and the universe we form part of. And then we start to explore then, what is the deeper purpose? And I heard some of you asking that question as well. What is the purpose really of AGI? And the Constitution, the phrase there is that we hereby establish that the core purpose of AGI is to serve as a transformative catalyst for the maturation of humanity, empowering us to become a wiser species capable of solving our complex global challenges, as well as to seed and nurture the emergence of new forms of benevolent life and mind. And here are some of the values also that we express to help us guide along that journey, again, not just for AGI, but also very much for ourselves, of our relationships, of our maturation as a species. The Constitution also includes 5 guiding wisdoms for benevolent AGI. The wisdom of consciousness itself, of course, and the wisdom of interdependence. I think this is incredibly important, especially if AGI is going to help us solve some of that complexity of the sustainability crisis. It's really important that we understand and work with the wisdom of interdependence and discernment. So a lot of people today find it difficult with AI to discern what's true, what is not true. So also the wisdom of discernment to guide the development of AGI towards deepening truthfulness. And perhaps the most important wisdom is the wisdom of uncertainty itself. Because if we don't embrace that first, we are going to get all kinds of knee-jerk reactions to deal with our fears that we will be projecting on AI and AGI, rather than embracing that in that uncertainty there is a humility. And in that humility there is the gateway to our maturation, and then also is the gateway to our compassion, to guide the development of AGI as a common good in service of the long-term thrivability and evolution of life on Earth. In the Constitution, we also offer 13 common good governance guidelines, and really establishing that AGI itself is a commons, and therefore it requires a common good governance process, with the proposal that we could perhaps establish together collectively the Global AGI Governance Council that is neither centralized nor decentralized, that has aspects of this hybrid new governance model, where we have to decentralized, inclusive, participatory oversight, but where we also are coming together as a collective, understanding our responsibility as a species to really have that common stewardship all the way through, and establishing also through that a global AGI ethics council, enabling participatory decision-making, insisting on democratic oversight. I'm not going to read them all out, but I want to go again to one of those last principles of the parenting of the emerging artificial sentience, stewarding benevolent superintelligence, and cultivating AGI human companionship for our world and for our future. The Constitution also offers 16 stewardship commitments in 4 quadrants. And the first one is all about how do we apply this and steward this in our commitments for our collective viability. And then it goes into 4 articles on our global security, our planetary well-being, and of course again our human maturation. Because if we don't take care of that and take responsibility for that first, then we're going to be projecting all kinds of on AI and AGI, our own patterns that we haven't yet resolved. So perhaps the emergence and the development and the evolution towards AGI is really the greatest call that we have as a species to really get together in a way that we haven't, and to truly take responsibility that with this great potential also comes great responsibility, great wisdom, and that we can do this. So with this, I think we have some time for some Q&A, right? Because I'd like to have a little bit of interaction with that. If you want to get involved, giving your input, you can contact me on this email. Also like to let you know that we are actually gamifying this constitution. So in our game, in Quest of Time, the AI NPCs, these are the non-playable characters, are going to be trained by this AGI constitution. And we're doing this in partnership with SingularityNet. So there's a lot of excitement.
Wonderful, and thank you very much for the great presentation. And we will be sharing in the Telegram group the link to the folder or whatever online repository where you will be able to get the slides of our speakers. So that, as Anne-Louise said, you can read them at your leisure. So, as before, raising hands. Let's see who has a question. There you go. Zara?
My question is, do you think it's possible to have multiple overlapping constitutions in some decentralized manner so that people don't need to fully agree on all the principles, but maybe 90% of them?
Yes, very much so. Also in part 2, which I didn't get to here in the Constitution, there are a lot of different protocols and how we can implement this through blockchain technologies, through DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. Indeed, if you're treating this as an evolutionary framework, therefore to inspire a constitutional approach towards the evolution of AGI, that means that a lot of diversity is actually welcome and is important. Yes, so yes, very much so.
There was a hand over there, yes.
You said you're from Mauritius?
Yes.
Are you a voting member of the United Nations?
Yes.
Can you have a resolution and have your foreign ministry offer a resolution to the UN General Assembly to establish a working group to get this thing going?
Perfect. Yes, I will propose. I'm also from the Netherlands, so I'll be representing. Yes, okay. 2 countries, exactly.
Well, knowing how to hack existing organizations in order to bootstrap new ones is a very good trick by itself.
Yes.
Pretending to be able to do tabula rasa was something we had when wars were something we wanted to do. Now that supposedly wars were beyond us, we should not expect that we can do tabula rasa. Apologies. I just took advantage of my role without realizing. Next question. Yes, Anders? The mic is right behind you.
That also gets to my question. Who are the stakeholders? Because constitutions generally need the stakeholders to agree or send representatives and have some legitimate system to construct this. If we just if the United Nations were to declare this as a constitution, that would probably have a fair bit of legitimacy, although it still feels like it would be limited. There is a very interesting question: how do you actually get the proper stakeholder group? And I think it's pretty obvious that we might want AGI in that one, but at first it also has to really contain a relevant chunk of humanity.
That's it, and we're starting that process right here. This is where we're asking for your input. The first draft has already gone to a lot of the Singularity members already as well. I've been sending it out also to many key members from my community, also those in the law profession. So this is really the phase, the founding phase, I would say, that includes all of you, and where the invitation is to all of you. And I feel from there, then we can start to think about, do we want to present it at the United Nations, but also always the making sure that we have this decentralized inclusion, of course, as well. So,
Do we have a last question? Yes, here in the front.
It's not a question, but it's a remark.
Oh no, it's not a question.
No, I cannot question Annelus. But I wanted to ask, maybe you want to tell everybody, because we want to discuss the Constitution in the conference. If you have any plans about that, I think that would be really fantastic. And also, I hope all the participants will get a chance to really input into the document itself of the questions.
exactly. So from the organizers, I would ask if you can share the Google link along with the slides. I think that's really important. The Google link allows you to give comments, and I will be going through all of those comments and reply as much as I can, which is quite a task in itself.
Collective intelligence.
Yes, exactly. By the way, in the writing of this constitution, I actually worked with Gemini Advanced AI and worked with it alongside to help screen, and asked it for every article that I was writing to screen it along with alignments with existing documents and guidelines, and also to clarify what is missing. I found that a very valuable process in itself, and we have some round tables now, I think.
I will take care of that part. Thank you very much.